Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I am going to fire up my grill tonight. I do not like to, I don't even have a gas grill. When I grill out, I like to use charcoal and do the whole process of grilling because I think that's part of what's fun about it. So I don't do the gas thing that's really fast. That's just not my style. So I got some steak, I got some sausage, I got some barbecue chicken I was going to throw on. Why not? Okay. The market has been coming on back, and we've got some pretty decent green in the market right now. Bitcoin's up at around almost 35,000. XRP has just come up to 30 cents. Let's see what Stellar's been killing it today. It's up 21%. And it's right there. Stellar and XRP just keep staying right on up there with each other. Okay. I had covered this today. This just makes me sick. The Stefan Thomas article where he had lost his keys to his wallet, where he had like 7,000 Bitcoin worth like $200 million. And he still to this day can't get to it. He says, a painful memory. I hope others can learn from my mistakes. Test your backups regularly to make sure they are still working. An ounce of foresight could have prevented a decade of regret. Can you imagine? He says, that said, I'll do what I always do, which is focus on building things at Interledger. Can you imagine what it must feel like staring at staring at your computer or whatever, and you just can't remember a password that would give you access to $200 million? I can't even imagine what that feels like. And this guy, that's like constant, you're just living in hell. It's like temperature just keeps getting cranked up. Heyo Seiko Mona sent me this. Matt Hamilton, who we see, he's on Twitter. He's been on Twitter, for a long time. He's been on Twitter talking about XRP. He's one of the smart guys on Twitter that talks about, development. And he's like, I want to say that he used to work at IBM or something. But anyway, he says, next month, I'm joining Ripple on the Ripple X team. I've been interested in XRP Ledger for a number of years and excited to help build the internet of value. The ability to move value around as easily as information will be transformational to business and society. And he has a whole thread here. I'm not going to go into all of it, but congratulations to Matt Hamilton. He's been around for a while. One of the good guys. Monica Long congratulated him. A big welcome to Hammer Toe Joe. Already off and running. I see, listening to Dev Feedback. Can't wait to work with you on supporting developers as they build new XRPL apps and projects. We're all a part of a community in service to the internet of value. Now, there's a lot of people that are stepping down from the SEC and different organizations in the transition to a new president. SEC News, Acting Enforcement Director Mark P. Berger to depart the commission. And this PhDJ had sent me this from the Cryptic Poet. Acting SEC Enforcement Director Berger to step down. Berger presided over the enforcement division when it launched the Ripple lawsuit. And you'll see it right here. SEC said Berger presided over the agency's prosecution of the Telegram initial coin offering and its initiation of the unregistered securities suit against Ripple Labs. So I'm sure we'll all miss him. And then we had this from XRP Crypto Wolf. Former CFTC Chairman Gary Gensler will be named head of the SEC. The nomination will happen in the coming days. The real question is, how will this affect the lawsuit against Ripple? Okay, now it's important you understand who Gary Gensler is. The first thing I wanted to show you is this. Well, actually, I tell you in the video what it is. This is Gary Gensler right here, who's going to be the new SEC chairman. Watch this. Hey, everybody. The news just came out that Gary Gensler is going to be named the SEC chairman. Okay. So I wanted to play you a tiny little clip from Gary Gensler. This is from highlights digital currency wars, a national security crisis simulation. It was done on November 20th, 2019 at Harvard University. Watch this.
Thing about a Chinese currency.
Well, I think we have to start thinking big. We can't be bogged down. We have to think about sideways. Our intelligence operations as well.
Here he is.
We have been leapfrogged by others, by digital currency, by digital Chinese currency. Why? Because, frankly, our central bank has been slow. And there's an appointment coming in January of 22. The president's got to decide whether to change over who's leading the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve runs our payment system. Right. And I think we need to move that Federal Reserve into the modern era.
What about in 5 minutes?
Okay, so that's one clip. Now, that was a simulation at Harvard that was done. Okay, and then I wanted to point out to you that Gary Gensler is the same guy that came to the microphone out of nowhere back in this, I can't remember, it was a year or two ago. And he walked to a microphone and he said, there's a strong case that Ethereum and XRP are securities. And he said Bitcoin was a commodity. Okay. And then Mickey B. Fresh, showed this, because this, I believe happened, I can't remember if it was after or before, but Mickey B. Fresh is telling the Daily Hodl that your information is outdated and is inaccurate. Clearly, Gensler refers to XRP as a currency as a professor in 2018. He's an MIT professor. Listen to what he says. I think I played this the other day, but it's not going to hurt you to hear it again.
Let's say Mexico, if it's between the U.S. and Mexico. So one idea that's been around, it's widely associated with Ripple, but it's not only associated with Ripple, is this simple chart. What if I move fiat to crypto and crypto to fiat? Is this called a bridge crypto or bridge currency? I can sort of say I can go from US dollars to Bitcoin or XRP. You fill in the middle and then move over to the other fiat, Mexican peso in my example. And might that take some cost out of the system? We have Sean's issue earlier of volatility. If the crypto is fluctuating a lot, that causes some issues. If there's a lot of cost or friction, because now you're doing 2 currency exchanges, not 1. I'm calling crypto a currency for this purpose. I know that crypto is not technically a currency, but for this moment, let me just call it, you have 2 currency exchanges, and thus you have 2 bid-ask spreads to pay. Just the market makers, you need to pay the bid-ask spreads twice, and you have some volatility if the middle crypto is moving around. But this simple diagram is a big part of what Ripple is trying to create with XRapid. Right, XCurrent is a messaging app of Ripple's, and it's competing with Swift. And it has some reasonable adoption. A lot of banks are starting to use it. But don't confuse that with another product, which is an interesting product that kind of does this, that goes fiat to crypto, crypto to fiat. So what problem, what pain points would this be solving if it worked in the cross-border? Anybody want to remind the class what Tom?
Well, this reduces the number of intermediaries. You don't have to have your bank engage with a correspondence bank, which engages with a local bank, which then it sort of...
All right, so I'm going to say it might lower the intermediation because you still have on the 2 fiat sides a bank, a local bank and a bank, and to do the crosses, you need some market-making function, which in Ripple's case, they try to build into the application, and they have market makers to provide liquidity. There was a question, somebody mentioned liquidity, some liquidity. But it might lower the numbers of intermediaries. What else might it do?
So, that's interesting, but do you know what the most interesting thing in that video to me is? The most interesting thing is how well-versed that Gary Gensler seems to be about what's going on at Ripple. That is what interests me. Now, this is another clip. This is from the Cryptic Poet, just in Biden the name crypto-friendly Gary Gensler to be SEC chair. Now, watch this clip.
Assuming we will have the regulation you described, we're sort of like back in 1933 with securities. You know, where should that regulation come? I mean, you're obviously from the CFTC, you believe in the CFTC, but why there rather than the SEC, for example? Or maybe there's an entirely different new regulatory body.
I'll even be regulator neutral as well as technology neutral. I think the pure cash cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin need more protection, and probably more protection than, frankly, even the oil markets or corn and wheat. whether that's the CFTC or the SEC, I'll be neutral. I think the CFTC has good skills. I think those crypto assets called initial coin offerings, that it's like the old duck test. If it quacks like a duck and waddles like a duck, it's a duck. These things are like initial public offerings.
What do you feel like is the appetite for other exchanges, other countries like South Korea, for example, to regulate as well?
So you see around the globe a lot of countries saying we have to guard against illicit activity. We have to ensure our tax base stays strong.
Sounds good. Everyone's going to want to say that, but the reality.
But the reality is it's really hard to implement. It's really hard to implement. The investor protection side, I'd say it's all over the lot. There's small population countries like Malta that want to attract and say, come hither. They want the jobs. They want the CEOs to land there. And then some countries like China and India are very hesitant, and officially they ban initial coin offerings, but underneath the economy still is, there's a lot of people trading in Bitcoin.
So finally, Gary, how confident are you that we could have regulation without inhibiting the innovation? Because it's really in the nascent stage. It's very early going. I think a lot of people who are involved in Bitcoin and blockchain would say, don't hold us back.
They would. I would say you want some form of regulation. You want traffic lights and speed limits, because then the public is confident to drive on the roads, in this case, the crypto roads. Right. And so I think the two can coexist, but it will take a number of years to sort through and get the balance right.
Assuming we will have the regulation.
Okay, so that's some interesting commentary from him. Now, also what came out today is news acting comptroller of the currency, Brian Brooks, is expected to leave the agency by the end of the week, according to people familiar with the matter. So Brian Brooks is now leaving as well. I wanted to make you all aware of this, by the way. Link2 had tweeted this out. As the saying goes, the numbers don't lie. Did you know that 79% of the attendees at our last Global Investor Conference said they were likely to attend again? Learn why our investors make time for the event. Now, this is going to be on March 9th. You can go to this link and sign up. They're at Link2 Inc., or you can go to linqto.com and you can sign up for their investor conference. But they've had people like Tim Draper and Greg Kidd, all kinds of, there's no telling who they'll have on it. But this is the next one's going to be called From Acorns to Unicorns. Chinu Patel, sent me this. The video I did earlier today kind of went through this, but I wanted to show you this. This is Sandy O'Connor, who's on the board of directors at Ripple. Watch what she says.
Is now used. Anyone want to guess for how many in notional values? $200 trillion are referenced off of the US dollar Libor rate. How many transactions do you think happens in each day on average in 3 months, which is the busiest one? Any guesses? 5 trades. 5 trades are happening on average every single day. It is the biggest inverted triangle you've ever seen. On average, its total value is about $500 million. Houston, do we have a problem? 200 trillion off of 500 million. So how does Libor get calculated? Well, you've got these panel banks that submit what they think Libor is, and it's supposed to be transactions-based. Well, if there are only 5 transactions and there are 16 panel banks, not enough transactions to go around, my friends. So, in fact, they have to use expert judgment. And therein is the instability of the rate. There is an awful lot of risk to use expert judgment on setting a rate for $200 trillion. So that's not really very good. So what did we do? Well, first thing, if you're going to transition away from something, what do you need? Something to go to. So this public-private partnership that has in place with public policymakers set up by the Federal Reserve Board, the Fed, the CFTC, the U.S. Treasury, OFR, we came to the table to identify a new risk-free rate as an alternative to Libor for use in derivatives. And we came up with this rate called the Secured Overnight Financing Rate. It's a repo rate. It has transactions, daily transactions in the overnight of $750 billion every single day. And it is now produced by the New York Fed, no submitting banks. No expert judgment. IOSCO compliant,
She's
for
with
those of you who
BlackRock.
are geeking out like I do and understand that that's a standard setter, and they tell you all the good characteristics of the benchmark that people are going to use. So it hits all of those wonderful things, right? Which is really, really good. But when you build a market, we have a rate. We got to now make this, and when the rate was born April 3rd.
Okay, up next, this is really nothing. Lindsay Lohan just gave her $100,000 Bitcoin target. I'm not even going to play it. This is one of these people that sent in and paid her to read what they asked her to say or whatever. No point in playing that. Now, XRP yo-yo. This morning I was telling you, I've thought this for a long time. The XRP and XLM, I believe from the very get-go, were designed to be a part of this satellite system, that the Starlink, that SpaceX, and maybe in conjunction with Space Force. So look at this. Intergalactic, and remember Greg Kidd, when I interviewed him, he said that XRP was the first intergalactic currency. Okay? And I thought he was just being a Star Trek nerd. I think he really meant it. Intergalactic currency was already planned. Blockchain, the next big disruptor in space. And look at this link. This is an article from 2013. Remember, XRP came out in 2012. Cosmic Currency, PayPal, and SETI developing space cash system. And it says called PayPal Galactic. The new initiative seeks to help lay the financial groundwork for the rapidly evolving field of commercial spaceflight and other private space commerce. The novel project will investigate the best options for cosmic currency in a crash-free interplanetary society. It also seeks to study the potential changes in store for banks and financial regulations as humanity increasingly expands its activities into space. All right, and let me see. And they mentioned down here that it says space exploration technology, SpaceX, intends to loft people into Earth orbit in the coming years on its Falcon 9 rocket. So basically, they're saying we're launching PayPal Galactic in conjunction with leaders in the scientific community to increase public awareness of the important questions that need to be addressed. So PayPal Galactic was planned a long time ago. Now let me show you something else. I've shown this on this channel before. Now remember, Stellar is partnered with IBM. Space Tech is IBM's transforming satellite launches with blockchain. Okay? If you go down here, they mention SpaceX set to launch 60 satellites for Starlink mega constellation. So these guys have been planning this for a long time. IBM, it says Cloud Constellation, IBM and Cloud Constellation Corporation are working together to build a range of prototype solutions. Cloud Constellation in partnership with Leo Stella. Only thing it's missing is an R there, folks. Leo Stella is also focused on deploying space belt data security. Anyway, Applying blockchain technology to the use case. The smart contracts, transactions, assets, channels, and then you go down here and it says, first of all, a business network is created among the following participants: satellite service provider, Cloud Constellation, satellite manufacturer, Leo Stella, and its suppliers. And then as you go down here, it says satellite launch solution. Cloud Constellation signs manufacturer e-contract with satellite manufacturer Leo Stella. The satellite manufacturer signs further contracts, Satellite manufacturer Leo Stella, they assemble and ship the satellites to launch services provider SpaceX. So IBM, a partner with Stellar, is contracting with Leo Stella to build, you can't make this stuff up, to build satellites for the purpose of blockchain, and then they ship the satellites to SpaceX. SpaceX then, of course, launches the satellites, right? So I'm not so crazy now. This is Leo Stella's website, by the way, if you want to just check it out. It's leostella.com. And finally, I figured this would fit in here right hunky-dory. CIA releases Black Vault UFO files. So the CIA has apparently released all of their files on UFOs So I'm waiting on people that are into this kind of stuff to dig into this so that, this channel is certainly not about UFOs and stuff like that, but I thought this was an interesting, and just imagine if they actually have something in there that actually shows that they've been in contact or something. Wouldn't that be crazy? I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that the digital asset investor is about to go light the charcoal. Thank you for listening.